Well, hello. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. How's everyone doing? We're just going to hang tight here for a minute or two and let everyone cruise in for our live stream. They're coming in from Facebook and from YouTube. So I'm looking out my office window and I have my bird feeders out there. And on the weekend, I noticed when we got back that my seed cylinder, which is in a cage, so big birds can't get at it, was completely gone. And I see now there's a chipmunk that can climb in there, and he is having a great time eating all of that seed. Bugger. They're cute, but I don't like when they eat all my things. All right, so we've got people rolling in. Hello, everyone. Okay, so we are going to do a live today. We are going to create a card, but the focus of this live is to talk about a really cool technique for doing ink smooshing. So this works for layouts and it works for cards. I did touch on it a little bit through our calendar series, and I'm just not sure if all the people who tune in for my lives, I'm just going to close my door. Hold on. For our regular lives, watch the calendar series videos because this applies to card making too. And this was a game changer for me. I have done lots of ink smooshing in the past, and I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it because it's one of those mediums that is, or one of those techniques that is just a little bit whimsical in the way that you really can't control what's going to happen. Oh, Kim's tuning in from Nova Scotia. Hello, Kim. So I like doing it, but I'm also a person who likes to keep things not too messy and kind of in control. I want to really be able to kind of control where the smooshing happens. And I don't know, cruising through YouTube, or something came up as an ad, or I don't know how I found out about it, but I noticed that Kathy Zielski was doing a demo on a card that she was doing, and she showed this technique, and she did credit the person who she found out about it from, and I didn't take a note of that. So if you really want to know, you can go searching through her videos and find the video that she does this technique on, and then you'll know where it originated. But it is brilliant. Basically, what we're going to do is we are going to take a microfiber cloth, and we're going to talk about microfiber cloths, and we are going to put it inside a sandwich bag. And that is going to create kind of a homemade smooshing tool that will allow you to control how you smoosh. Now, we are going to do this with a bit of a purpose because I want to be able to create a card that I can use. Selfishly, this is how I get my cards made. So, I'm sort of moderating and reading comments on my own here. What does this say? My son and husband use that spritzer to. Oh, okay, let me pop that up. Okay, so let's show that comment. So it says, FYI, my son and husband used this spritzer to keep the roast moist on the barbecue. They loved it. Okay, so I had to go upstairs and get this smoosher from my bedroom because I use it on my hair all the time. So it is very multi-purpose. You definitely need this spritzer. It's called the Mighty Mister from Spellbinders, and it's really a great, great mister. You're going to see me using it today. Okay. Anyways, I forget what I was saying before I was reading the comments. Doesn't matter. Okay. So, oh yeah, I was going to make a card today too. I'm going to show you the card. So this is the finished card. This is what we're going for. So the background on this card is what we're going to create. And I won't be able to create it exactly the same because that's the thing about smooshing, is that you're going to get a different look each time you do it. But I'm going to show you ways that you can control how you do it. And Mary says it's kind of like the old days when we used when we used a sponge to paint the walls. 100%. Hey, that was really trendy. I had that done in my house. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool technique, and I really just want to share it with everybody, because if you've never tried smooshing before, you're definitely going to want to give this a go, because it's a lot of fun to do. Okay, so to start, let's talk about the microfiber cloth. So let's get some of this stuff out of the way here. The microfiber cloths that I have fallen in love with are these ones here. Now, we sell these at the store now. They're under, if you search my name, and you have to spell it right, it's Carolyn, Carolyn. This will pop up. So I have tried a lot of different microfiber cloths, and there is a definite difference between them on the absorbency, and just in how they work with my brushes and so on. So I'm kind of fussy. These ones were recommended by Jennifer McGuire, and I picked up some, and they only come like in this half size, but they are so worth it. So that is what I'm going to use in my smoosher. You don't have to in your smoosher use a really nice cloth. But again, I think depending on what you put in it, it's going to affect how it works. So the half size is a perfect size, and you're going to need a sandwich bag. So just a little Ziploc sandwich bag like this. And what you're going to do, and I found this size was perfect. I have one that I kind of have stains all over, so I'm going to use that as my sample. You're just going to kind of scrunch it up, and you're going to put it inside the bag. And then you're going to zip it up almost all the way. You want to leave a little bit of air escape there. And then you're going to end up with it kind of like this. Okay, so you want it to be pretty snug around your microfiber cloth, like this. And you're going to tie a string around it. Okay, so it's going to be closed like this. And you're going to end up with a tool like this. So that's what it is. Now, I want to make a couple more for myself in different sizes. When I use this one today, you will see how I can manipulate how much ink I pick up and where I put it. I still think it would be very beneficial to have some smaller ones. So what I might do is take this cloth and cut it in half so that you end up with two pieces, and then use one piece to make it a smaller smoosher. Now, you can use paper towel inside your little bag as well. I think that's what Kathy showed when she did her video. But I felt like I wanted something more permanent. I wanted something that was going to hold its shape a little bit better. And that's why I decided to go with the microfiber cloth. So that is the tricky tool that you're going to create. Now, once you create it, this is going to sit on my desk off to the side with my most used tools, because this is definitely something I'm going to grab for often. So you're going to see it in different tutorials that I do, probably on calendar pages quite frequently when we make our own backgrounds. And there's lots of different ways that you can use this to create backgrounds. So that is what the focus of this video was to show you this homemade tool and to show you how to use it. Now, how do you clean this? Well, again, we have the handy little bottles of alcohol. So we sell these bottles. There's sprayers, and then I fill it up with alcohol. Anything 70% or higher will be great. And just like my glass mat, you can just spray the alcohol spray right on here. And you can use another microfiber cloth to clean off any ink or paint or anything that will build up on here. And again, if you feel like you need to replace the sandwich bag at any time, you just cut the string, pull the microfiber cloth out, get a new bag, and start over again, and you can just kind of recreate the tool. Or if you want it to be bigger or stuffier, or you feel like the insert part is a little flat and you want to fluff it up, you can easily open this up and just fix it. But that's how easy it is to clean it. So super fun. It's super easy. So mess and cleanup is minimal. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to create this background. Okay, now I am going to use this paper because I'm working with a mixed media technique. I pulled out the Vicki Boutin Foundation's paper pad. So this is a 12 by 12 paper pad of mixed media art paper. So it's heavier weight, and it does have a coating on it that is meant for mixed media. Okay, so you can use regular cardstock, and I often do in my calendar layouts. And I have also done it with cards as well. But because I really wanted to demo this today, and not be conservative with the amount of water that I'm using, etc., I wanted to use a paper that I was going to be sure that was going to hold up. Plus, I am going to do some heat embossing on here as well. And I just wanted to make sure it was going to hold up good. So if you don't have any of this foundations paper, I highly recommend it. It is a 12 by 12 size paper. It is smooth and it is really white. So it's great to have in your stash, and you can use it for card making and you can use it for scrapbooking. So full 12 by 12 pages for backgrounds, or you can cut it up and use it for cards as well. And it is 140 pounds. So even my 110-pound Nina cardstock, it absorbs ink and water differently than this does. So I really like this paper. So that's the paper I'm using for the base. And I went ahead and did my heat embossing ahead of time. That's not really what this video is about, but I will show you the stamp set that I used. This is the stamp that we are going to use for our background. It's called Weathered Words, and it's from Tailored Expressions. They have a script stamp that is similar to this. It's a background stamp like this, but I wanted the typed text instead. And I stamped in the Versamark ink. This is like a watermark ink. So it's clear, but it's slow drying. So I'm going to stamp my stamp out in this, and then I'm going to sprinkle my white embossing powder on top of that. So any white embossing powder will work just fine. And then I'm going to heat set that. And then you end up, and I hope the camera will pick this up. I'm going to see, but you can see how I've got that text on here. And this stamp is perfect because I don't know if you can see it, but right there, it looks like there is no text. Let me see if I can get the camera to show that. See how it looks like I didn't stamp it properly? That's actually how the stamp is. You can see right here on the picture on the front. So it's one of those stamps that you can't really read, but you know there's text there, and it doesn't matter if you don't heat emboss every section of it because it's meant to look distressed, and it looks really cool. So the other thing I want to point out is I did use my Misty to do the stamping. So I used the full size Misty when I did the stamping. And we do get this question a lot when we have people looking to purchase a Misty. And this is a perfect example. Customers will come in and they'll say, I want to get a Misty stamping tool. I'm going to get the mini size because I only make cards. So they just think, I'm just going to have small stamps in it. So that's all I need. But guess what? Almost 80% of the people who come in and get a mini Misty come back and get the original size, because there are things that you cannot use the mini Misty for that you may not think about when you're purchasing it. One of them being a 6x6 background stamp. It does not fit in a mini Misty. So here's a mini one. Okay. And it is great for stamping sentiments, for your little critter stamps. For most things, it'll be great. But when you go to try to put a 6x6 stamp in there, it does not fit. And that is really discouraging because I use background stamps quite a bit in my crafting. And you never know where your crafting journey is going to end up taking you. You never know what the next trend is going to be and the next technique that you see that you're going to love. So you want a tool, especially something like a stamp positioner tool, that is going to be able to do all the things that you want it to do. And then you don't run into roadblocks. So definitely consider that if you haven't purchased one yet, because the 6x6 stamps fit in there perfectly, along with all of your critter stamps and all of your smaller stamps that you're going to be using all the time. But you do want it to be able to use full background stamps as well. Okay, so when you're using your Misty to do stamping with a background stamp like this, I'm going to point out a couple of things. Tailored Expressions uses red rubber, and it is the best option for stamping. You're always going to get the cleanest, clearest, crispest, is crispest a word, stamp image when you're using red rubber. It's just so nice to work with. So they have it sort of pre-mounted on a cling material, and you can see that it is quite thick. So you're going to want to take out the spacer that comes with your Misty, because this is for photopolymer clear stamps, and it adds the extra space in the well for you. But when you're doing stamping with this type of a stamp, you take that out because it will fill the well of your MISTI up on its own. And you can place your stamp in the middle of your MISTI. You can place it down in the corner. So you've got room to play. You can do it kind of even on a bit of an angle if you want to. You've still got a little wiggle room to do that with the size of a MISTI as well. So definitely consider that when you are purchasing a MISTI, because you don't want to choose the mini, because it is a little bit lower price point, and often people really think, I don't think I'll use it for anything else but stamping sentiments and small images. But chances are you likely will. So anyways, I put the paper in here, I stamped the image with that Versamark ink, and I then did the heat embossing off screen. So when you do that, it actually creates a panel that will resist ink, which is really cool. So the white embossing is now kind of raised. You can feel it on there, and the ink will not stick to it for the most part. We are using an oxide ink for this technique today. If you use a dye-based ink like Tailored's inks or Concord and I, those are, I'll call them see-through inks. So it'll be a lot more obvious that this is resistant. But because I'm using oxide inks, that is more opaque. And if the ink sits on top of the text, it will cover it up. So you'll notice in spots like right here, it did cover up the text, but you can also see that it's resisting it in other areas too. Pardon me. So Mary brings up a good point. The MISTI can be used for stenciling as well. Yes, because you can put a sticky mat inside of your MISTI, and you can put your stencils in there, and you can do your stenciling that way as well. And a lot of stencils are 6x6 stencils, and that would mean that the mini MISTI would not be a good option for that. So lots of reasons to consider the original size for sure. Okay, so once you get your panel embossed, and you don't have to emboss your panel to do the smooshing technique, I just wanted to do that today to create the card that I'm going to create. And you can see that texture in the background there. See how it catches the light right over here? You can see that embossing does show, and it does resist the ink a little bit. And it just adds a little bit of texture to your background as well as the smooshing. Okay, so we're going to dive into the actual smoosh. And we are going to, like I said, be using oxide inks today. I chose 2 different colors of blue, sort of one lighter, one darker. So we're going with Salvaged Patina and Mermaid Lagoon. And then we're going to throw in a little green and use Twisted Citron. So I was going for a bit more of a masculine card, and I'm trying to build up my stash of cards to reflect all different themes and genders, because I tend to choose that rainbow theme a lot, and it doesn't always work well for guys. So it's kind of nice to have some things in my stash that are a little more masculine looking, and people are always looking for masculine ideas. So I definitely thought that would be good to cover today. So these are the colors I'm going to use, and we're going to start with this sort of lighter blue color to begin with. And when I do ink smooshing, I work right on my magnetic glass mat a lot of the time. But there are times when I like to keep my my mess off of my work surface, and then I like to bring in a smaller glass mat. It's also magnetic. And what this does is it gives me a dedicated spot to do my messy work. And then when I'm done, I can just take this and move it aside. And that way, if I move my papers around on my glass mat, I'm not going to go right into the ink. This is elevated for me then, and it doesn't kind of interfere. So I like to work on the second glass mat. So we sell these. They're 6x9, and it's a great option for stenciling and for doing kind of like a palette area to do this type of technique. Again, you can totally work right on your surface as it is, but this is kind of like an added bonus. Okay, so we're going to start with the lighter color, Salvage Patina, and I'm simply going to smoosh some ink down onto that surface, and I'm going to take my Mighty Mister and I'm going to give it a spray. So that's when this sprays, it sprays like a long spray. So I just do it once. And I'm just going to take my handmade tool here and I'm going to mix that palette up with the tool itself. Okay, so now I've got some ink on there. Now, if you think that's too much, you can kind of dab it off and you can just pick up a little bit from the corner, but I'm going to go with a bigger blob for right now. And I'm going to start by putting that right down onto my card. And you can see that that is sort of sitting on top of my cardstock. It's not soaking in, it's sort of floating there. And it is resisting the words. So see how the ink is going kind of in between the text lines? And that's exactly what this technique does. So I'm going to stop right there. Actually, I'm just going to take just the corner and I'm going to put a little bit kind of over here because I want to spread out the colors. And I'm going to come in with my heat tool. Now, I'm not sure what the sound is going to do. This whole new setup that I have here with the microphone, I don't know if it's going to cancel out the sound of the heat tool or whether you're going to hear it really loud. We're going to find out. So this is another reason I chose to use this type of cardstock, because when you're using your heat tool a lot on it, other regular cardstocks can warp. Not that warping is bad. If you have a Mink machine or a fuse machine, you can kind of iron your cardstock when you're done, as long as you don't have mediums on there that are going to melt. Hang on, I'm just going to plug in. There we go. And sometimes too, if you just let them sit for a little bit afterwards, they kind of flatten out on their own. But I'm going to heat this up. I am going to grab my little clipboard here because I don't want to do heat right on my glass mat. So this will just hold this and put a barrier between. So I'm going to turn this on. I don't know what it's going to sound like. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments if you can hear the heat tool or if you just hear me. But I'm going to add some heat. And this dries pretty quickly. And I love how it looks. And this is a great way to build up color, just like we do when we do ink blending. You can smoosh on top of smoosh and build up color. So it's a great little tool to have for sure. Okay, so Christina says she can hear it, but it's muted. Okay, that's good. So you can hear me talking too. I wasn't sure what it was going to do, but this is not really something I can do ahead of time. I have to kind of do it live. Okay, so that is mostly dry. It's not 100% dry, but it's mostly dry. Dry enough that we can go in again with more. Okay, good. You can hear me fine. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to set this palette here because I might go back to that color. I'm now going to come in with the darker blue. No, I'm not. Okay, wonderful. That's good news, guys. I'm going to come in with the green first. Okay, so again, I've got blue on here. It's still wet. So I'm just going to take microfiber cloth and just wipe that off, just so we don't make a new color. I don't want to, oops, I didn't spray. I don't want to mix colors together because sometimes you end up with brown and that's never fun. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the green so you can see how much ink I have on here. But this tool is going to allow me to target where I put it and how much goes down. Now, I'm very lightly dabbing this green. If I want to really fill in the area, just push down harder, and it's going to push it into the paper a little bit more. See how that's more flattened, whereas some of it is sitting on top of the surface. Okay, so see how this looks now? We've got the two colors kind of mixing together. I'm going to come back in with my heat tool. That looks really yellow on the screen. It is not that yellow. It definitely is a sort of limey green. But it's so fun. And you can choose any colors that you want to play around with. Now that's drying really fast, which is awesome. because I sort of didn't let it puddle on the cardstock. I pushed it into the cardstock. So you can see how the embossing is resisting that ink. It's going everywhere around it, but not on top of it. So isn't that cool? All right, and now I'm going to make a third spot because I might go back to some of these colors. I'm just going to make a dark blue spot. I don't even know if that'll be on screen, but it's just below the green. I'm going to add the water. I'm going to clean off my tool. You're just catching the top of it on the screen there. Same technique as before. I'm just going to pick up some ink. Now this is going to be darker, and I'm just going to fill in the different spots that I want that darker ink to go. And I'm trying to keep in mind that I want to fill my card front for my finished card. Okay, so we're kind of working in a rectangular fashion. I'm going to use a die to cut down the thing to the size. Okay, now I'm just going to point out a couple of different things here. So here you can see that the ink is quite light. Here you can see that it's actually puddled on there. And that's going to be a very different look when it dries. Same thing over here. There's a big puddle, a little bit more of a puddle up here, but this is going to dry a little bit differently. So it looks really cool. And so you can play around with that pouncing tool that you've made, and you can, either just lightly tap it, pick up extra ink and lightly tap, and it'll kind of sit on the surface and puddle. Or you can push down on it, and basically that smooshes the ink out. And then it'll be thinner and not as puddled, which is also a really cool look. So depending on what you want to do, I'm just going to add some more heat here. And those puddled areas will take a little longer to dry, but they will dry. But the color will be more intense too, which is kind of cool. And you can see how my colors are not mixing together. That is because we're drying it between layers. See, this area up here is already dry. And this one is almost dry. You can see it moving around still. You also have the option of taking a paper towel or part of your microfiber cloth and dabbing it. But I think that takes away from the pooling. So you can, I'm just going to hold that up there just so you can see how it dried a little bit differently in those areas, and then much different down here at the bottom. But isn't that amazing? And see how that text is showing through? I really, really love how that is. So is a heat tool the same as an embossing tool? Yes. Yes. So there are lots of different ones on the market. I know we carry a couple different models, but yes. So you use it when you do heat embossing. So that's why it's called an embossing tool, but you also use it to add heat to dry, different gels and things like that. So I will often call it a heat tool, and you'll hear different people saying, I'm going to hit it with my heat tool. Well, that's what they mean. Okay. So we can go in and we can add a little bit more color in here if we want to. Like that's a lot of green right there. Not that that's bad, but it's very different than my card is here. So this area here will be what is right here. I have a little bit more blue. I can leave it like this and be happy with it, or I can add a little bit more blue in this area. What do you guys think? Do you think I should leave it the way it is? Because those are the three colors. I like the shape that it's gone into. I think it looks really good, but I can add a little bit more blue in here if you think I should do that. I will wait a minute for comments and see what you guys think, because I love the interactive part of a live. You like the green? I kind of like the green too. It's going to be a very similar look. Even putting the cards side by side, it'll be very close. And the open space. I was thinking the same thing. I like it as is, makes it unique. It does. And you're never going to be able to recreate it exactly the same. But you will be so surprised at how much control you have over the inking technique using this little smoosher tool. Okay, so I'm going to leave this the way that it is. It's perfect. So it's all ready to use. I really love how that turned out. I'm just thinking of all the nautical stuff that's coming out right now. To have like that lighthouse. Remember we did the promotion a couple weekends ago where we gave away the lighthouse with purchase. And I made that card with the, actually I still have it here. Let me grab it. One moment. It's right handy. Oh yes, it's right here. this coastal swoosh. This would be so cool on this. Like, look how great those colors would go with this background. So this is something else you can try for a background rather than, you know, ink blending or using a stencil or anything like that. You can totally do this type of technique and add all of this stuff right on top of here, and it's going to look amazing. All those colors are going to show through, and then have that text background that is subtly showing the white on white at the top there. You can really see it in real person. So I'm just hoping the camera is kind of picking that up. It looks like it is, but it's so fun. And again, this, like I said, this looks really yellow when I see it on screen, but it definitely has like a sort of lime green color to it, which is awesome. Okay, so for cleanup over here, I actually have a piece of paper towel I'm going to use to soak up most of this moisture. And this is why it's a good idea to make several backgrounds while you have your stuff out, because there's a lot of ink on these palettes that I'm kind of wasting. Now, if you were Vicky Booten, you would save this paper towel because you could do fun things with that too. We're not going to do that today. But now I'm just going to take my alcohol spray quickly and just clean up this part of the mat, just because I don't want to get things on things that don't need things. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to clean this off real quick. Okay. Alrighty. So now we've got our background. So the next step is going to be to make it the size that we want. Now, I've already gone ahead and done that for my card, but I am going to show you the dies that I used to do that. So these are from Tailored Expressions, and I've had these in my stash for a while, but I haven't used them. So this is, they're called Squiggle Stacklets. So, I mean, you can use a stitched stacklet. That will work great. But I tend to do that a lot. The other stacklets I like to use a lot are the scalloped ones, but in my mind, those are a little bit more on the feminine side. And I really wanted this to be masculine. So I really loved the idea of doing the squiggle. And I think it's a different look. You could do an arch. You could do any other kind of shape that you want as well. But I really love the squiggle stacklets, and they are nesting. So you get like from the largest all the way down to the small size. So this is good for sentiments and banners and all kinds of great things. But that is the second from the largest size. So this one here. And that gave me room to put the black mat in behind, and then also still have part of my card showing too, which I really like. So I was really happy with how the squiggle stacklets turned out. So if you've not seen those before, definitely check those out. They are cool. And so all I did was just take the die, put it over top. And the nice thing is, once you get your background done, this is a 6x6 one, you can take your stacklet and sort of decide where you want to position it. So if you want to, you know, slide it over so the smooshing is a little more centered, you know, you can do that. I think when I did mine, I had more space, so I had to slide my die over a little bit, but I was pretty good this time. So I would probably place it somewhere like that. And I would go ahead and run that through. And then that's going to cut out that, that design for us. So I'm going to set this panel aside. I'm not going to do that live because you kind of know how to die cut. So that is what I used for that part of it. Now, the next thing I decided to add, because I wanted to keep it masculine looking, was the trees. And I talked about these trees not too long ago, actually. And because I talked about them, we sold out. But we did get a small order in. I bought every tree set that I could. I bought them out. They didn't have any more. Now, I went on today and checked, and they do have more in stock now. So I will be ordering more. But it's called Through the Woods. And this is my absolute favorite tree set ever. Now, when I used it on the other card I made, I cut out or stamped out colored trees. So we did greens, lots of different shades of greens. But in this case, I wanted more of a silhouette look. So you can use just the dies from this set, because you get the dies for the trees as well. And you can cut out like just the silhouettes of the trees and go that way. But I really liked how it looked when I stamped them in black and I still had that white outline. So that just shows you right there, just different looks that you can get with the trees. You can go with colors. And I've even seen this set done in like rainbow colors or different colors for Christmas. So they make great Christmas trees for sure. And then I've seen them where they do the silhouettes like this. But then I also seen where they stamp them in black, and I like them used all different ways. And this set comes with 7 different tree shapes. So you can mix and match the styles of trees that you want to use with different colors of ink and come up with all different configurations of trees. You can make a whole forest. So I did decide to go with the black trees. So you're just going to stamp them out in black ink and then use the dies and cut them out. And I laid this one flat on the background and I popped this one up. So that gives a little bit of dimension to your card front. Also, the ink smooshed panel that I did here, I popped that up using foam adhesive away from the black panel. And then the black panel is flat against my card. So there's lots of levels of dimension on the card front itself. And then I went through some sentiments that I had. Originally, I had this one out that was already stamped out from that previous project, and it was going to go across the bottom like this, but I didn't like how it overlapped the tree. So I went through a bunch of die cuts that I had already stamped out, and I found this one. It's called It's Your Day. Let's Celebrate. This is from Waffle Flower, and it's a recent one, but I don't have the name of it. I didn't have the name of it handy. So if anybody has a question about that, you can leave a comment on this video, and I'll look it up afterwards and answer you. But I don't know offhand what it's called, but it fit in that space perfectly. I loved how that worked. If I had more time, I might have used black cardstock and done white heat embossing on the top, and that would have made a black die cut. But I kind of like that it blends into the background a little bit. I like that the sentiment doesn't like necessarily jump out because I don't want that to be the focal point. And then I also stamped these little birds in the top corner. So Shelby reminded me that this Waffle Flower set here, it is the Postage Collage for Sunset, has these birds that you can stamp out. And they look like seagulls flying in the sky, which I love. And it also has like tracks and all these silhouettes of like moose and whatever. You could use all of these on this background. Like it would look so good. But I did use the birds from that set and I did stamp them kind of up in the sky. And then I just added a few gems to finish it off. So a very easy card to put together. The hardest part is making the background, and that's not even hard. I mean, it's so fun to do. So yeah, that's kind of how that works. Does anyone have any questions? I love the colors too, Diane. I think they work really well. I love the teals and greens together. I think it works really nice for an outdoor scene. So I quite enjoy using those. So at this time, I'm just going to remind everybody to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's really important that you do that. First of all, you're going to get a notification whenever we post a new video or go live on our YouTube channel. And then you'll just basically get an email that lets you know that we were live. And you don't have to go right away and look, but you can then be thinking, oh, you know what? I want to go see what they're up to. So by subscribing to our channel, that's what happens. The other thing, it's really nice if you give this video a thumbs up. So that increases, I don't know, does stuff with algorithms and all kinds of weird things. But basically, it opens up doors for us and for you guys as viewers on YouTube, and it allows us to do more things. So the more viewers we get, the more thumbs up, the more subscriptions we get, that's what happens. So those things are really important to do. And we just like to remind you once in a while you're here to just take a minute to do those things. Again, does anyone have any questions they want answered before we sign off? This video is only 40 minutes long. Terry says, are the birds upside down, or is it because we are seeing it in reverse? You know what? I don't know that they're upside down or upside right. I took them right out of the package like this. I'm assuming they're the right way. But you're not seeing it in reverse because my sentiment is the correct way. But I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way. You could go either direction, I guess, but they put it in the stamp set this way. So that's how I did it. I'm not really sure. How do you do thumbs up? You know, okay, Mary, that is not a dumb question. I'm going to put that up here. So you can't do a thumbs up while the video is live, I don't think. Or maybe you can, but I don't see it on mine. Maybe if I close the chat. Yes, if you close the chat, you can see right below our name, it says Two Scrapbook Friends. It shows 15 people have given it a thumbs up. Nobody has given it a thumbs down. You can share our video. You can save the video. And what that means is you can save it to a playlist of your own. And then that way you can organize your playlists kind of like you do your music on, let's say, Spotify. You can make playlists of your favorite videos. You can also report us if you want to, but I hope we're not doing anything wrong. So that's where you'll find all those buttons. Do you see those there? But that, oops. Now I'm showing this. No, stop. now it's showing everything. Hide. Okay, there we go. And how do you comment on YouTube? Well, there is a button that has a live chat. So again, there is a button that says live chat. If you click that, it will come up below and then you can chat right there. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. So let's see. Kim says this. Kim says, I also had a bunch of saved videos and now they are lost and says I'm something to subscribe to someone. What has happened? Okay, are you on Facebook, Kim? Because if you have saved videos on Facebook, if they are live, they're going to disappear after 30 days. Just because you've saved them, you haven't really saved them to your computer. You've just saved them, like kind of bookmarked them. That's different. YouTube is a whole different ballgame. As far as I'm concerned, a much better platform to watch from and comment from and do all kinds of fun things. So, but that's your personal preference. Facebook is very limited as to what you can do. And yes, I think that's probably what you're running into. You saved them on YouTube. Well, I don't know anything about that. I save things and I put them on a playlist. So they're all organized there. So when I go to the playlists, I can find them. So I'm not sure what you've done, but yes. I'm sure if you YouTube how to save a video, there's a YouTube video about it, and then it'll probably tell you how to do it. But anyways, that's how that works. Any other questions that I can answer before I go? Okay. Well, thanks again, ladies, for tuning in, and gentlemen, for tuning in and watching another one of our lives. We really appreciate your support. And again, if we can answer any questions, you can comment on the video. If you comment in the chat afterwards, this is sort of a live chat. If you comment on the actual video, the YouTube video, there's a place where you can comment. We get notifications of that, and then we will make sure that we answer those questions. We try to keep an eye on those things, at least for a little while afterwards. So that's always helpful. All right. I'm going to sign off for now. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and we will see you again soon.